All right, welcome back, everybody. Right now, we're going to just take a brief look at Hatch and how to program in it. But first, I wanted to show you Scratch. Now, Scratch is a language developed by MIT. The initial idea was to have beginner programmers who might not be so good at typing but are ready to program to get them in and started. However, there's some really complex projects on here. Although it's a great place to get started, it is not necessarily a baby language. You can do a whole lot with Scratch. And just to show you how easy it is, you can get signed in and have an account. That's all good. But even if you just wanted to go up here where it says create, you can start working on projects. So I just wanted to show you what the user interface looked like. And now I'm going to direct your attention to kidOYO, OYO class, where we're going to look at what Hatch is. So Hatch can be accessed if you're already a part of kidOYO. And once again, if you want to get started, you can go to the link down in the description below to get signed up with a kidOYO passport. But you can access Hatch from the apps dropdown. Just click on Hatch. And then to get started, just click Create. So you may notice side by side, these look very similar to each other. That's because Hatch is based off the Scratch language. The language is exactly the same. We just added a couple of different features to it, had to change the name, but they work just the same. So we're going to go over a short little lesson, and that is on how to create the first building blocks of a game, and that is with controlled movements. So if you're getting started for the first time, you can go ahead and name your project, save it, and then right next to that, it says Expand Editor. You can click there. Now, if at any point you get stuck, you can pause this, I believe, and go back. We'll also post these videos later. And let's get into it. So I'm going to go ahead and just build the code using these blocks on the left-hand side. You can see they're color categorized. In Hatch, or in the Scratch language, everything is done by dragging and dropping blocks and snapping them together. So I'm going to use some blocks that we always use to get started, and that is in the events category. So I'm just going to grab this when green flag clicked block, and let me zoom in a little bit so everyone can see a little better. So when green flag clicked, I am going to bring in this if block. And once again, the code is going to make the character move around on the screen using the arrow keys. This is the building block of any kind of game. So this area where the sprite moves around in, the character, is called the stage, and I'm going to make that bigger just by clicking this button right here. All right, so I'm going to start this out with an error. It's not going to work at first, but that's on purpose. It's going to illustrate a point. So I'm going to say if I press the right arrow key, so that's in the sensing category, key space pressed. I'm going to bring this in here and change it to the right arrow. And you'll notice if you line up the left edge, it'll snap in. So when the green flag is clicked, if the right arrow key is pressed, now I just need to move to the right. Now, this may be new for some of you, but if you go to the motion category, there is a block here that says change X by 10. That idea of changing in the X direction may be new, but X just means left and right, and Y means up and down. So this is our code. When the green flag is clicked, or which is the start button, if the right arrow key is pressed, change X by 10. So let's try this out. I'm going to click the green flag, click the right arrow key, and it doesn't work. But watch this. I'm going to hold down the right arrow key on my keyboard and watch what happens each time I click the green flag. Takes a little step to the right. what's happening is the code runs so fast that by the time I click the green flag, it's already done running the code, and it's not looking for if I press the right arrow key. So this happens a lot in coding, and to get around it, we use a kind of idea called a loop. So the type of loop we're going to use is called a forever loop, and that's in the control category. And I'm going to drag this in and put it right around the if block. So now that I have that, I'm going to click the green flag, move my character back to the left, and watch what happens when I press the right arrow key now. It slides to the right. Now I need to get it to go back to the left. So I could drag the blocks over again, but I want to work smarter, not harder. So I'm going to right-click on the if-then block, and it allows me to duplicate my code. And now I can snap that underneath, not inside, but underneath that first if block. And I can just change that to the left arrow key and make the change x by block -10. Now when I press the green flag, I can go left and right. To move up and down, it's the same idea. I just can't use this change x by a block, but I can duplicate. So I'm going to right click up here, click duplicate. Now I have 4 if-then blocks or if-then statements. And I'm going to take out these change x by blocks, so there's nothing inside. And then I'm going to click on the drop down. I'm going to say up arrow, and then I'm going to say down arrow for the second. Now to get it to move up and down, you may remember what I said before, we need to move in the Y direction. So I'm once again going to go back to the motion category, and I'm going to scroll down until I see change Y by 10. I'm going to put that in here, and I'm going to put it in here. The difference between these two, though, is that to move down, I need to use -10. So now that I click the green flag, I can move up, down, left, right, and I have the basic building blocks I need to start making games. So this is just the beginning. We have tons and tons of lessons, videos on OYO class. Once again, if you want to look at that, click on the link in the description. The kidOYO Passport is how you can access it. But throughout these weeks, we are going to be building upon this, making little games, and just increasing some of these intro skills. So with that said, that's all I have for you today. Stick around, we have some more lessons coming up in just a minute. And as always, don't forget to save your work.